Interpol has set up a new regional counter-terrorism unit in Singapore. It's the first of its kind by the global policing agency and will be led by a Singaporean who will work with police agencies in the Asia-Pacific to share strategic information on terrorist activities.
The news came at Interpol World, where government agencies and industry leaders meet to address security challenges. Nabila Go with more.
The alleged leader of the Jemaah Islamiyah terror network was recently arrested by Indonesian police. Interpol describes Para Wijayanto's capture as a significant blow to terror networks in the region. And it is targeting more such breakthroughs with an initiative that it calls the Regional Counter-Terrorism Node. It was set up in Singapore in April. It will operate with 6 officers in its early phase, and it plans to recruit more from the region. The aim is to get regional policing agencies to come together in the fight against the terrorist threat.
The police officers from the region know the region best, so Interpol needs to use their expertise, knowledge and experience not only to help the fight against terrorism within the region, but also how it impacts other regions around the world. So officers with that very specialised expertise will come together, provide leads for investigations.
Mr. Morris said Singapore was picked because of its sound infrastructure. Similar counter-terrorism units will be set up in East and West Africa. Second Minister for Home Affairs Josephine Teo said in her opening address that collaboration in police work is vital.
Crime and terrorism are increasingly borderless and inventive. If we are to win this fight, we must support each other and become better together. Among other things, this would involve law enforcement agencies sharing information much more quickly and pooling resources to coordinate transnational responses.
She also said that factors such as global connectivity and technology are reshaping today's security landscape. To keep up with the challenges, she highlighted 3 areas of innovation that will aid police work: biometrics, data analytics, and digital forensics. One such tool is this software. It can unlock and extract data from mobile devices or laptops. Some law enforcement agencies are already using it.
We look at conversations that are being exchanged, and at the same time we look at linkages between people. We look at locations that the criminals have been to or the suspects have been to, and obviously we look at images. You know, what kind of images, what kind of photos that they have taken, what kind of videos that they have taken, and we all link all this information together so that we can tell the story.
Some 300 experts from around the world will gather at Marina Bay Sands Convention Centre for the 3-day conference.
And for more, we are joined by Walter Lee, Government Relations Leader at NEC Corporation. Now, he is one of the speakers at the Interpol World. Well, warm welcome, Walter.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So now we know that the security landscape keeps evolving, but in Asia, what are some of the biggest threats facing us at the moment?
Well, there are many threats that's ongoing. Cybersecurity is one of the greatest ones. You hear about cyber hacking all the time. And secondly, of course, is this issue about terrorism, counter-terrorism. And you're seeing many incidents happening throughout the region. So both of these are critical. And both of these are also merging as we speak, because you're seeing chats online that could indicate potential threats to national security.
Yeah, so there's different levels to look at, I suppose, from the terrorism side of things to sort of criminal activity. Just sort of staying with sort of the criminal activity side of things, we used to see sort of physical features on ID documents, like for currency, to prevent forgery, for documents as well. Today, falsifying papers seems to be getting easier and easier and more sophisticated. How is this happening, and what sort of loopholes are sort of criminals taking advantage of?
Well, I think what's happening now is that there are a lot of loopholes with physical documentation, and not just physical documentation that you just pointed out. If you talk about your online identity, for example, you're using your security, using PINs and passwords, those are easily hacked. So what is happening now is this emergence of using biometrics, because biometrics is who you are. So biometrics is what is happening right now, and it's a hot topic at the Interpol World. But with biometrics also comes subject, can you actually fool the biometric engine? And the answer is yes, you can, if you do not have what is called liveness detection. So for example, you watch some horror movie where it's about using a fingerprint and someone chop your fingerprint, or using your iris and then someone take out your eyeballs. And I call that as very primitive biometrics. So biometrics have to get to the stage whereby it has to detect that you are alive and it's you, and that's called liveness detection. So new technologies are coming to play whereby you're who you are and you're alive and well.
But then how do we ensure that we're one step ahead of these like criminals or hackers? I mean, sometimes it does feel like, you know, certain agencies, they're trying to sort of keep up with the, with the next crime.
Totally. I think there are two reasons for that. One, of course, is that technology is changing every time as we speak. So even in the technology landscape, you're always catching up to the next best technology. But also in the criminal world, it operates different from the law enforcement agency. In the law enforcement agency, we have what I call departments, divisions, countries, agencies. And for all the right reasons, exchange of information is not always easy. But in the criminal world or in the terrorist world, there are no departments, no divisions.
No borders.
As a result of no borders, so as a result of that, they can transcend all this limitation. And that's why there is always this perception that there's a catch-up game going on.
Is that a perception? Because the way you've described it almost sounds like there will always be a catch-up game.
It can remain that way unless we get better at what is called inter-agency collaboration. So you see this buzzword being thrown along, but what's happening now is not just inter-agency collaboration within a country, it's about international collaboration. And hence why this Interpol World is so critical, because it's about all the agencies collaborating together.
And that's the key to it then, that we can then outnumber the bad guys in effect, by making these sort of communications links.
Outnumber, outwit them.
And out-resource.
Exactly.
Are we getting there in terms of this collaboration?
We must. We don't have a choice. We have to do that. Yeah.
Okay, and what do you see what's the next big breakthrough then? What do you see as, you talked about sort of biometric life, was it called?
Liveness.
Liveness.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the next big thing, for that to get to the point where it's rolled out, I suppose, is the next big thing.
Absolutely. I think biometrics have become so ingrained that password and pins will be history.
I think of the past.
We'll be a thing of the past. It's quite ridiculous to use the same password for everything that you do, and your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend's name or something on it.
I gotta start changing.
Exactly, you bet. Yeah? So biometrics is key, but we need to be better than the existing biometrics to what I call a liveness detection and biometrics that cannot be detached from you.
Yes, and just quickly, how far away do you think we are from that?
Technology is evolving very quickly. We're already implementing biometric solution with liveness detection, even as we speak. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. So thanks very much, Walter, for coming in and sharing that with us. Walter Lee, Government Relations Leader at NEC Corporation.
Thank you very much.